In the past 30 days, I've made $84,309. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you exactly how I did it so you can do it too. This story begins in June of 2023, and at the time, things sucked. I had almost exactly $10,000 worth of debt. I was still living in a one-bedroom apartment with my mother, and I didn't really go out too often. If I'm being completely honest, it was probably one of the worst times of my life. I was really trying to make it work with dropshipping. I was using paid TikTok ads, but I would always seem to either break even or lose money. And since I had pretty much no money at the time, you can see how this was not sustainable. I knew something needed to change, but I didn't really have a clue into what direction I should go in. Where I really went wrong was when I didn't see any form of real success after 3 to 6 months, I would simply just give up and move on to something else. I was already making a bunch of TikToks every day to run as paid ads for my dropshipping store. And then I thought, why not just try to make them go viral organically without me having to pay money to get them in front of people? And the reason I decided to make this change was, one, I didn't have any money left to run paid ads, so I didn't really have a choice. And two, it doesn't really matter how I get my videos in front of people, because either way, I'm trying to sell them products on my dropshipping store, right? And if I could figure out how to do it organically, it would be a win-win. But after a few months of posting, I finally figured out a way to make some money doing this. I stumbled upon this mentorship program called Creators Corner. Creators Corner is a mentorship program where they teach you how to make viral TikToks. And because I was already making TikToks at the time, of course, it piqued my interest. You join the program, and then after completing their 10-hour TikTok course, they will pair you with somebody who owns a brand. These brands could be anything from selling supplements to shower heads. The main thing that they all have in common is that they market their products by creating TikToks. There realistically are only so many TikToks a brand owner can make in a day to sell their product. So what they do is they hire creators, such as myself, to make the TikToks for them and earn a commission on all the sales I generate. Anyways, after joining, I got my first ever brand deal. Now, I don't know if I'm allowed to name drop, so I'm not gonna, but I will say it is a pretty cool brand. They sent me some free samples worth like $200. And on top of that, they paid me $450 to make them 30 TikTok videos. If you want to, click the link in the description and join Creators Corner. For the next 5 months, I would grind this method out, and every month I would end up making more and more money. I went from essentially negative $10,000 in my bank account to 5 figures in my bank account, just making silly little TikToks every day. And eventually, one thing led to another, and one of the owners of Creators Corner, Jimmy, came to me and said, "Would you like to be a manager?" At the time, I didn't really know too much what it meant to be a manager, but because he saw I've developed a pretty solid understanding of content, and I'm just an organized person, he thought I'd be a great fit for the job. As a manager, now, rather than being the one that makes the videos for the brands, I would also help them improve their content by hosting group calls, coaching them, and sending content they can take inspiration from. There wasn't a step-by-step training or a guide to follow. I had to figure some things out as I went. As time progressed, I really got into more of a flow with the work, and I started to see myself really flourish. While I was a good content creator, management is really where I was meant to be. After a few months, I've seen another pretty crazy jump in my income, which leads to September of this year, where I would end up making that 84K. Now, before you say anything, allow me to break down how much I made and where it came from. My money came from 2 main sources: management retainers as well as rev share deals. Those are where I get a cut of the revenue generated by the creators that I am managing. While the retainers are nice and consistent money, the rev shares are what can bump you up to some crazy months. That month happened to be one of the best months for the brands I manage, hence why the rev share was pretty nuts. More than 2/3 of my income in that month came solely from 2 rev share payouts. What started out as me making a few silly TikToks has ended up transforming into this huge opportunity. And if you're interested in starting, why not watch this video right here where I talk about how to get started with TikTok Shop.